All right. Take it away.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm back. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, because I'm black.
Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. How are you all feeling? I am Doug Wagner. No sub headline. That's just
Wow.
what we're doing today.
Doug,
I couldn't-
straight up.
Wow. Doug, straight, no
No
chaser. That's how we're doing it today.
Ooh.
Hope everybody is doing well out there in the space. We got a big show for you. We're going to talk The Last of Us, episode 4, or episode 5 now.
5, yeah.
5. So we're going to talk episode 5 of The Last of Us. We're going to dive into some of the trailers from the Super Bowl as a little sprinkling of news. Just as a heads up, this may feel a little shorter because we got a bonus episode to record just for our Patted family folks coming up here in a minute.
Hop
So, yeah,
over
that's what
to
we
the
got.
Patreon. Doug is going to be eating hot chips for the first time, and we're talking who's the best wrestling actor.
Yeah.
I am going
Yeah.
to be eating hot Cheetos for the
Yeah.
very first time in my life.
3 different
Live.
kinds of hot Cheetos, too.
3 different kinds. I have
Yeah.
never
What
had
a
hot
treat.
Cheetos before in my life.
Man.
And I'm about to do it for the Patreon. So I hope you all are excited and ready for that. But we got to make sure everybody is thoroughly welcomed and introed and enjoying this space. So I'm going to kick it on over to Brian, Third Heat Roush. Brian,
Hello.
how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. I had a big day. For those longtime listeners, I have a hybrid role. If you're new here, I basically go into my office once a week, and today was that day. So, I can't believe I used to do that 5 days a week. I'm spent. So, yeah, you feeling, really feeling the effects of that. But I'm back now the rest of the week, so that's great.
Fantastic.
Super pumped to talk about all of these trailers. Also really pumped to record our bonus episode. I just want to put out there for all of our listeners, that bonus episode, you're going to be getting us like pretty unhinged. Like we don't have too much of an agenda for these episodes. We try to stick to stuff, but I mean, you heard it. We're going to be talking about who's the best wrestler turned actor, and then we're doing Cheetos.
Yeah.
So if you really like that more
Big Cheeto
casual, like
daddies.
unhinged type conversations, make sure you subscribe to the Patreon. You have access to that episode. But yeah, I'm super pumped to talk about the trailers today. I'll be honest, I'm excited for us to discuss the Flash trailer, and not because of its title character. So we'll get into that. I know we will.
That's gonna take up a lot of our airspace, you guys.
Probably.
What's gonna happen there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, absolutely, Brian. And you're very much right. Anytime that I am not at home base for work, it just takes it out of me. Now, I've never had to go into the office because it's in Buffalo, but I get it.
No, yeah. And
No,
I can't believe, I don't know. Roman Myers said it's well worth the description for those that are interested in the
It's true.
Patreon. It's never too late to
Yes.
join the party over there at Patreon. Yeah, I don't know. Going in every day, I don't know if I could work at home. That's one of the things I've been trying to like. Did you have to learn to work at home, or is it like, was it an adjustment, or did you just get home and was like, hell yeah, this is the life?
Honestly, it was very much a hell yeah, this is the life for me,
Okay.
because like I found out from working at home that I'm like super efficient with like the tasks that I'm given. And so when you take out like, oh, I saw Brenda in the hallway and she told me about her pet frog's colonoscopy, like you're just once you cut that stuff out and like you can just focus on the projects at hand, you're like, wow, I'm like getting way more stuff done than I did in the office. Like
I mean, Brian,
Not
that
the colonoscopy.
where were you working? Like I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I do
got
work with
several
doctors.
questions.
That's
How do you
true.
give
say
a
that
frog
here.
a colonoscopy?
I didn't know that frogs had assholes to look at. So there you go.
And that's just some of the conversation you can get over there at the Patreon.
That's, you know,
Yeah.
this is just
Behind the paywall.
We're about learning and growth and colonoscopies on frogs. Apparently,
Frog
Come down to
ass.
Frog Talk.
Frog
hosted
ass.
by me.
5
Glenn
minutes
Mauch.
into the podcast.
brings
that's
a
what you
whole
get.
new meaning to the phrase swamp ass, but for very different
Oh,
reasons.
Wow.
Yeah, I
there we
brought
go.
this on myself.
Yep, you
Yeah.
really did.
I did.
But we also need to kick it on over to Marcus. Get a new name, Kansas City Destin.
Wait,
Marcus, Marcus,
Why?
how you
Listen,
feeling?
Kansas City Chiefs. It's hard for me to cheer for
Oh,
you
Got it.
when
Oh,
you have
yeah.
a name like this. Okay.
Yes.
Shout out
Yes.
to my boy Jack Cochran, USD alum, is now a Super Bowl champion, right?
Very true.
But I don't.
Wow.
I have to call you Kansas City. Like I don't like
Yeah.
the fact y'all do that dumbass tomahawk cheer.
Yeah.
I like that's like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
no.
Let's do something else. Now I know that the Washington football team is struggling.
Commanders.
Yes.
Don't do what they did. Okay.
Yes.
Do the opposite. Go in the opposite direction when it comes to rebranding. But I believe in you that you can rebrand.
Yeah,
All right? just believe
It's
in you.
right there. Make them
It's-
fire Chiefs.
That's
Done.
right. Let's
Like
do
you're
something
done.
else.
Go home.
Do something
Yeah.
else.
I am a Minnesota Twins fan, so it's
Mhm.
hard for me to compliment Cleveland Guardians on many things, which is their new
Yeah.
baseball team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But tip of the hat
They
to the
did it.
Cleveland Guardians because
did
they
it.
were like, you know what? No
Mhm.
questions asked.
Yeah.
We have moved
Yeah.
on from this
Yeah.
logo and this image. We're
Yeah.
not even. It's not even up for debate. We've already
No.
picked it. There's no.
Yep.
They
the
just changed.
controversy is gone. We just
There
changed.
was like a little bit of backlash, and then before I knew it, everybody just seemed to like
They're
just
like, oh,
It's like
okay.
it had always been that way.
yeah,
Cool,
yeah.
cool, cool, cool.
Somebody
Yeah.
said it the other day, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, no, that how long has that logo been? I forgot it was new, to be honest with you.
You know what's really interesting is that like many times, and this is the part that a lot of folks don't realize, is that in order all of those like images and things like that are trademarked. So
Mhm.
while they are the Cleveland Guardians, they still have to turn out so much Cleveland Indians apparel
Mhm.
every year, or otherwise
they
they lose the
really?
trademark. Yes,
That's
Brian.
interesting.
Fun fact, the University of North Dakota that used to be the Fighting Sioux that are now the Fighting Hawks, they have a whole section of their hockey store that is all Fighting Sioux stuff, and it's just to maintain the trademark.
Oh, okay, got it.
Wow.
Okay, got it. Which
if they
probably
look-
doesn't help. It doesn't help the cause, right? Because you still keep that old. Do you have
Well-
to sell more of the new stuff than you do the old stuff?
I mean, I hate to give you the capitalism response, but I mean, what better way to keep your fan base engaged than by saying we release some new vintage apparel for you
Yeah.
to really try on?
Yeah. Well,
I hate that I'm right. I hate that that's how that works.
learn something new. 5 minutes into the pod, and you get the capitalism answer to
Yeah.
trademarking and swamp ass. You never know what you get.
Yeah,
We
get a whole lot
look,
of
we
stuff.
we have a large range of topics we
We
cover
are.
on this
Yeah, we do.
podcast.
We absolutely do. So yeah, it's good. So yeah, well, yeah, and I agree. It's the other thing that blew my mind with the Super Bowl last night was when they cut away to, I think it was Germany, and all of the Germans were doing the tomahawk, and I was like, do you all
That- ooh,
realize?
wow, that's
Do you all
wow.
realize what's happening here? Like,
All right. That's
I had a
not
lot
great.
of questions for the Germans in that bar in Berlin.
Wow.
All right,
lot of
Doug, so
questions.
how are you doing?
I am out here
Right.
causing a ruckus. That's
Yeah,
what
you
I'm
are.
here to do today.
Feeling rowdy, huh? Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
feeling rowdy, but it's a good day. It was a
Yeah.
great day. It was a great weekend.
was a
Got to
great
just
weekend.
kind of take it easy.
Okay.
Got to watch the Super Bowl, which was fun. Marcus
Mhm.
came by the house.
I
That was
did.
always a good time.
Great experience. Great
I would like to
experience.
say Marcus got to see the other side of my wife, which is the sports side
Loved
of
it.
Brittany, which is outstanding. Because
Yeah.
Marcus, I don't know how we entered into this. I think we brought up the fact that Brian, we were talking about the LeBron James, Michael
Yeah.
Jordan conversation.
We actually brought it up
Oh.
because of Brian. He like when we were in the
Uh-huh.
chat.
Well, Marcus and I stumbled
Yeah.
into that, and
We
we were
did.
both like, "Oh, we cannot do this right now in group
Yeah,
chat. We
yeah.
cannot discuss this." Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry, Doug.
The funny thing is that like I don't know how we brought this up, but we brought it up, and Marcus goes like, "Well, I've always been a LeBron person," and Brittany's like, "Well, that's great, good for you." But Michael is the greatest of all time. Like, didn't this a moment wasn't like
Yeah.
a here's a guest in my house, like let's make him feel welcome. It
No,
was like,
no.
nope.
no.
This is you need to understand what we believe here. Like,
Yeah. And you know what? I felt more comfortable I felt even more comfortable
Yeah.
when Brittany just came at me directly and was
Yeah,
like, yeah,
it was
but
the best.
like it was a straight face, like, yeah, but MJ's the GOAT though.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
Yeah, did miss a moment.
I was like, yeah. Agree,
And also-
agree to
and also-
disagree.
Brittany was on the cutting edge of reporting the headline that Rihanna is pregnant. Rihanna showed up. Rihanna showed up in
Yep.
halftime. Brittany goes like, "Oh my God, she's pregnant." And Marcus and I were like, "Wait, what? What?"
I believe that Brittany Wagner was the first person in the world before Rihanna even knew she was pregnant. Brittany Wagner knew Rihanna was pregnant. That's how quick as soon as she made the
wow,
bitch better
right
have my
away.
money. Brittany called and said she's pregnant, and I didn't even get to look at her stomach. I was still like trying to like give it a full scope of the TV.
Yeah, that's
Brittany,
so-
I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can do that.
yeah,
It wasn't gonna be me, I tell you that.
It was not going to be me. I was
Mm-mm.
too amazed by the Super Smash Brothers venue that they had.
Yeah,
Oh man.
perfectly
the
executed.
performance. So, but that's
Phenomenal.
how I'm doing. It was great. It was a great weekend.
It was a great weekend.
Uh,
Did you tell them about the wings?
I did not. I would like to right now, here and now, put in a
Oh.
plug for the lovenerds.com,
Hey.
LTHELOVENERDS.com.
Yeah.
Those wings are fire as fuck. Like, I'm not going to lie to you because I made the Parmesan garlic wings and I made the
Ooh.
honey sriracha wings, and they
Ooh.
were incredible.
Those
That
honey
was a good one.
srirachas are the bomb.
That was
Brittany,
good.
we all three of us ate them, and we were like, "These might be the best wings we've ever had."
Those were good.
Like,
Those were,
hands
you know,
down,
and you know it's funny.
bar
We've
none.
been talking about those wings. If you've been like on the pod for a long time, I think it was like season 1, maybe season 1, season
Maybe.
2, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a while.
I've been waiting for those wings. Got them, but here's the thing: those were great. But the Parmesan caught me off guard. I looked
I
at
did not
Doug and
expect
was
those
like,
to be good.
Yeah.
Did you? Is this from the Love Nerds too? And he was
I
like,
was like,
"Yep,
yeah,
it
they
sure
were."
is." So those went
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you all enjoyed them. I will tell Maggie and
You
pass
will,
along those
please.
kind words.
They were
Please.
really great. I should have taken a picture and posted it to our page, but did not.
yeah. It
But
was
That's
good.
they
okay.
were delicious.
That means you were enjoying it.
That's
we
exactly
were way
right.
too busy.
Yeah, they're really good. Gentlemen, we have a whole episode to get to,
We for
and
sure do.
we
Okay.
are going to kick it off. We skipped it last week, but we are going to kick it off
Yeah.
with Catch That Quotable.
All right, I'm ready.
Catch that quotable.
right.
All right. This one comes from one Roman Myers
Hey, Roman.
with the quote. So,
Okay.
gentlemen, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right. It was at this time that Mrs. Hoggett began to worry about her husband, but Farmer Hoggett knew that the little ideas that tickled and nagged and refused to go away should never be ignored, for in them lie the seeds of destiny.
Oh God. Okay. One more time for me.
All right. It was at that time that Mrs. Hoggett began to worry about her husband. But Farmer Hoggett knew that little ideas that tickled and nagged and refused to go away should never be ignored, for in them lie the seeds of destiny.
Obviously a cartoon, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Obviously.
Well, this feels like a movie I watched when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
I will agree with you that this is a kid's movie oriented at children.
For sure.
This feels like Babe.
Okay.
I don't know
Oh.
if it is.
That's
I
what I'm
don't-
getting at. Like, it's something
Yeah.
like Babe, or like there was another one that I felt like was set on a farm that was like aimed at kids when I was younger.
Is Babe the one with the spider, the salutations?
No, that's Charlotte's Web.
Charlotte's Web. Okay, that'll
Yeah.
be my guess.
Babe is the one about the pig who, for his own survival, because people eat them,
Yeah.
makes the decision
Yeah.
makes
No,
the
we do.
decision to learn how to like corral sheep, and then gets entered into a contest.
That's right.
Listen, here's the thing. I don't know if it's Charlotte's Web or Babe because Mrs. Hoggett is a very specific character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a
And
very
I don't know if they
specific
ever
character.
gave that much attention to the human characters in both of these movies. That's the but I can't think of anything else. Can I get a hint, Roman, please?
I mean,
Roman in the chat.
Please.
yeah,
Yeah,
Anything?
warm cold. What do you think, Doug? I don't know. Did
I'm
you
with
say-
Brian. I think this is Babe. Like, I really do. Like,
Yeah.
as I continue to sit and think about it, because there's this moment in Babe where Mrs. Hoggett looks out her window and watches the farmer training the pig and how to herd sheep, and I feel like this is what that's
Wait,
from.
you just said the name like you just naturally knew what it was. I
I-
mean,
I
if you
think we
it's
should
Babe,
lock
then go
in.
Babe. Yeah, I think we should.
I think we
I'm
should
not even
do
gonna
it.
look at the hint. Roman put a hint in the chat. I'm not even looking. I'm trusting my two friends to just take me and
We got
guide
you,
me.
Marcus.
Yeah. It's Black
Sink or
History
swim
Month. I don't wanna
together.
do the work. Yeah, for sure.
That's I love that.
It's all right. I don't mind. I don't mind.
For sure.
Let's see,
What
ladies
is
and
it?
gentlemen.
What is
This is Babe.
This is Babe.
This is Babe. This is the movie from 1995,
Yeah.
which is Babe. So we
I'm
got
gonna
it.
I'm gonna open the hint now. All he said was warm.
Warm.
Well, he didn't want to give it too much away, or otherwise
Yeah.
we've been like, we got it. So,
we did it.
Oh,
Roman, that's our
Wow.
speed. We can
Mhm.
handle that
Wow.
one. We can
We are
handle that.
now in season 3 at a grand total of $60. And for those that don't know, that is new to the party, all right, that $60, thanks to Roman Myers and his participation in the Catch That Quotable, will be donated to a charity of, could be your choice if you join the Patreon and drop some hints in the Patreon.
Yeah.
But we will all collectively donate these.
We'll pick something.
funds.
Yep.
We'll pick something.
Yeah, for
We donated to Brian. What was the charity we donated
Yeah,
to?
I was
last
just
week?
about to pull it up.
I just removed
I'll
the
get
name.
I'll get the name of the charity here in a
Please.
second. But we donated to a nonprofit that
Yeah.
ensures medical care for women wherever they are. So if they need an operation that say is illegal in a certain state, they can make sure that they fly there. So they provide abortion care as well as trans affirming care, and they make sure those people have transportation and flights or to get there.
South Dakota. Yeah.
Maybe not helping
Maybe, I
out
don't-
people in our
Sorry,
backyard.
Lord. Sorry, Lord Gnome.
That's Jesus Christ. Because you know what she's doing on a Monday.
Yeah,
I wonder what those films in black and white guys are doing.
What are those nice young fellas doing on the
fellas
pod
doing?
today?
This isn't what I signed up for at all.
Wait,
But
What tier do
gentlemen,
you think she would be in? Tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3?
she strikes me as an ask us anything, but
Oh.
only very conservative oriented
Oh,
question.
yeah.
Elevated
She's a-
access is who we
Yeah.
donated to. By
That's
the way.
Elevated
So
access.
if you want to support them, you can feel free to Google them. We've also posted stuff on our Twitter as well, at Films in Black and White on Twitter.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian, for interrupting the silliness.
Yeah, Brian didn't
Keep
want
us-
to have any of that.
keep
Yeah,
us
No,
back.
I
Keep us
don't-
back on
look,
track.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
happy. I'm happy to get down on these oppressive folks. I just wanted to make sure people were like, what is that thing? What is that thing y'all are talking about? I at
Turn
least
the
got the name
table.
out there.
Gentlemen, that was
Yeah.
great. I love it. So there's one thing I want to say before we get into Catch That Quotable, and it's this post is going to come out after Valentine's Day.
Day after, yeah.
And I want everyone out there who might not have a Valentine or might use this as an opportunity to get down on yourself, just don't. Like it's literally a made up holiday.
Is this for
Like,
me?
no, it's just for anybody. Maybe it's you, maybe it's other people. It's literally like
two married people on this pod.
yes, I'm lecturing Marcus.
yeah.
It's not about you.
Okay.
It was made up to sell chocolate and greeting cards. Like
Oh, sorry.
you're fine. Okay?
Okay.
Like you're okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so that's the first thing. So enjoy, love yourself, like just appreciate or love your friends. Like love is such a broad word. It doesn't have to be romance oriented.
It's true.
2, I want to boost something Brian has told us in the past, talking to us about media literacy.
Oh, wow.
Brian,
Hello.
you were watching the Super Bowl yesterday, yes?
I sure was, Doug.
Brian, did you see a commercial about Jesus like several times?
Jeez, us.
Us with a capital US.
Us in yellow font.
'Cause
I
he
sure
gets-
did, Doug.
Because he gets us.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I saw those really, and then it made me wonder. I wonder how much a Super Bowl commercial costs, Doug.
Rumor has it around $7 million for
Good
ad space
lord.
during the Super Bowl.
Do you know
Oh.
how many just give or
Huh.
take how many commercials that Jeez Us had during the Super Bowl?
I think I saw 2.
Those.
2.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And at the time, I remember going, well, that's a really positive message.
Yeah.
There's no way that this organization could be bad.
Yeah.
And then I did a little Googling and I
Mm-hmm.
did a little listening. And it
Yep.
turns out that we should all wonder what the aim of this organization might be.
What
because I'm
is
not
the
trying-
aim?
Well, all I'm gonna say is one of the founders and CEOs of Hobby Lobby is on the board for the organization behind
Well-
He Gets Us.
Well,
That's all I need to
So
know.
That's all you need to know.
I gotcha. Sounds good. Hobby Lobby will give you a deal on some shit that hang in your house, but No,
Won't be open on a Sunday.
I don't know,
No,
man.
thank you
It
for
just
me.
kind of seems weird. Like if your whole organization's about like we're gonna help people, and then they like all sit around a table and like, what's the best way to do this? We have $14 million. Hey, how about we spend 14 million feeding hungry people? And they go, no, shut up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put all that money into a commercial so everybody sees it. And they're like, but we could like buy a bunch of homes and just put people in there. No, get out, Joanne. We are gonna run a
Joanne.
commercial.
Joanne
Anyway.
Fabrics, was that a tie-in to Joanne Fabrics?
It was.
Hobby
There's a
Lobby?
whole
Yeah, go to Joanne's instead, I guess.
there's a
you know?
whole
crafting universe.
there's a whole secret
Hobby Lobby.
cabal
Crafting
of craft
cinematic
stores.
universe.
But I just want everybody just question stuff. Like, don't be afraid to question where stuff comes from, because it's important that you do so. Not arguing with their message. I mean, the commercials were well done, and they certainly made me go, yeah, we all should try to get along. But I can get the same feeling from watching a Jack Nicholson quote from Mars Attacks that I did from the commercial. So yeah. Let's just leave it there.
That was so
That was
eloquent.
beautiful.
I won't even add anything.
No,
That was
that
a
was
great message,
That was
Doug.
great.
Uh,
Usually I end to put some bullshit, but that was great.
That
That's
was
it. There
great.
you go. But the real reason we need to move on is because we got to unpack episode 5 of The Last of Us. So, really quick for anybody listening or anybody watching, if you have not seen episode 5 of The Last of Us, we are going to spoil it. So,
Yep,
put a
the
pin
whole
in
thing.
it. Check out the link in the episode description. You can skip over. We have all the timestamps in there. You'll be able to skip over this section and come back after you've seen it. But, gentlemen, thoughts
All right,
on
let me
The
kick
Last
this
of Us
off.
episode 5?
Marcus has
let me kick
thoughts.
this
All
off.
right, Marcus,
I
take it
want
away.
to start with a question. I've been seeing a lot of debates online. Okay.
Oh,
And it's a simple debate. Which was the better episode? What's the best episode so far? We're at 5, which means we only have 3 more. And at this pace, I can't tell if we'll actually get The Last of Us game 1 ending in season 1, or if they will try to do a part 1, part 2, season 1, then go drag it into season 2 and maybe in game 1 in season 2. I can't really tell, but we only got 3 more episodes left. What is the best episode so far? Or your favorite? No, give me your best.
asking
I don't want to
choose
go
who your
favorite.
favorite child
Yes,
is.
give me your
Yeah,
best.
this is hard. I mean, the episode with Frank was just beautiful. Like that episode was
Yeah.
just so well done and just so perfectly executed and just really drenched in the humanity of the whole show. So I
Mhm.
really liked episode 3, but I also really, really enjoyed this last episode, like episode 5. And it's for several reasons that we can get into after we're done, like ranking our favorites. But this one, episode 5, just did a lot of things really well and continued to steep on the humanity beat with this, that it just really got to me. So for me, 3 and 5 were outstanding.
No. Pick one. Pick one. That's a bad answer. You gave me. I love both my children equally. No. I asked you to pick one, so pick one.
See, then episode 3. Like if I had to
Okay.
pick one, episode 3.
Episode 3. All right, Brian.
Okay, so my dad answer is that episode 3 of The Last of Us is it shows you the depth of where this show can go. It
Yep.
shows you that it's more than just like fungus, zombies, and like people killing each other. It's about what does that even mean in a bleak world and you love somebody and having these things exist at the same time. And I mentioned this on a previous episode, but it really is this idea of like this show makes you emotional about, wow, strawberries, like sharing strawberries with somebody you love is really special.
Beautiful.
And then on the same token, have it be like, anyway, both of these people will need to die, and a double suicide is actually a happy ending to the story. Those two things exist in the same episode, and that is impressive. I've never seen it, and it takes real talent to tell a story like that and still leave you being like, what happens next? So
Yeah.
I want to give the flowers to that episode. I need to say that. I think for me at this point, I really like episode 5 a lot, and I think I'm going to choose it as my favorite because it really subverts a lot of expectations for people who play the game, for people who are usually looking for a good versus evil narrative, for people who are used to happy endings, and for people who have watched a lot of like zombie like content, I guess
dude.
is where I'm at. And that's why I think I like episode 5 a little bit more than episode 3, because you really get to like dig into the guts, like pun fully
Yep.
intended, of the consequences of people just trying to survive. And what do you lose? Like what do you lose when you have a rebellion, and maybe you're not checking yourself and you start turning into those people that you're rebelling against?
Yeah.
What happens when you only focus on the rebellion and getting revenge? That there's literally an entire city of fungus zombies under your feet, but you're just so obsessed with vengeance that it literally sneaks up on you.
Vengeance.
Vengeance tonight. And to even get into Joel and Ellie and how they're both trying to handle moving forward. I mean, there's so many things you can pick out and feel different ways about. That's why episode 5, I could keep talking about it, but I think that's why I get episode 5. It shows you the breadth of this world, of the beauty and the harm of it, and just all of like, hey, maybe rebellions aren't so great. Hey, maybe sometimes you do just need to figure out what's in the tunnels and just not, leave them alone. It's that kind of stuff that challenges you, but also makes it an enjoyable story.
Yeah.
Word.
Brian, you talked. I mean, that was
beautiful.
That was awesome.
That was
like
beautiful.
you had me about 3/4 of the way through that, going like, man, and I fucking picked episode 3. Like, look at me. Like, just I felt bad about my
That was
answer.
good.
Well,
That was
no,
good.
and I feel bad now because like episode 3 is just kind of like, here's some love, and here I am being like, get in the guts of it and be sad. Like,
Give me a dilemma.
like what's going on with me that I can't just be okay with people loving each other? Like, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go with it here. Marcus, do you feel a certain way about 3 or 5?
I'll add one extra. 1 is impressive. Episode 1 is impressive
Covered a lot of
because
ground.
to set a foundation like that in only 5 episodes and just episode 1, I feel like I have to give you credit for that, right? You have to give there's a certain audience that have played the game that understand what the fuck is going on already.
Sure.
They know they already know what they kind of want to look for. They already kind of know what Easter eggs they're trying to find. They know their ears kind of hyped to what they want this to be already. Then you have a separate episode where you're explaining new ground to new people that have zero context, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, to do both things successfully and to please both audiences successfully in your first episode, that's impressive, right?
Small feat.
To be able to make your adaptations, to change the time period, to change the race of the daughter, like those little things that you usually hear complaints about all the fucking time. We didn't get that. I didn't see a lot of that this time around, right?
Yeah.
Nobody was as nitpicky. So I want to add episode 1 in, but if I had to pick, episode 3 had me in tears, right?
Yeah, okay. Episode
3 had
3
me
made
in
me
tears.
cry. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 definitely made me cry, but episode 5, the entire episode 3, you need the entire episode to get to that point of tears for me, to get to that strawberry in the field moment with Frank. That build up there was good for me. 5, the end got me in 5.
The
It
end.
was the end.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking. For
That
me.
was hard. Like to see
That-
Ellie, first of all, try to save is it Henry? Is it Henry? Henry.
Oh, yeah, Henry.
To try to save Henry the best she can, and for her to have to cope with loss for the first time of, oh man, this thing works for me, but it didn't work for Henry. Why do I have this and nobody else? What's the point in me having it? I don't know what's going to happen. What happens at the end of this, right? And then for a brother to have, like, what other decision can you make? There's not enough time to make that split decision at the end too. I can't live without him. I've never, really killed anybody directly, and that's your first direct deliberate kill to save someone else.
Yeah,
that's a tough episode and a tough way to end it, man.
For me, the thing with episode 3 the episode 5 that got me like kind of in tears was like this moment where Henry writes on the board. He's like, "Do you think when you're a monster, you still have pieces of yourself in there?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck!"
Yeah.
Like it was a Penguin moment. It was like, what are you showing me that for? Like,
Mhm.
it just got up in there, and it was like
was
it
tough.
just put the squeeze
I
on
mean,
everything.
And I think playing the game, like I feel pretty well versed in like how stuff is gonna go, but the show does such a good job because Ellie's like, oh hey, like my blood's medicine, and I'm like, they could change this. Like I had this naive, childlike hope of like, I
Yeah,
know how
dude.
vaccines are made. Like I know this. I know like you can't just rub healthy blood on bad blood and everything's gonna be fine. But like even in that moment watching this show, I'm like, yeah, it could work, Ellie. Like you definitely tried. Your blood is medicine. Of course it's not. It's The Last of Us. Like what was I expecting? And it let me down all over again because I was like, they could change it for the show. No, they won't. Brian, what are you doing? Like, of course that's not how blood works. Like,
And
they
Ellie
got
was
me.
Ellie was so good with Henry, right? To see that too, right? To
goodness.
be a protector, to be a big sister, like doing the puns with him and Joel and them hearing laughing. That honestly, if I'm being honest, aside from maybe the first episode, that's the first time I've heard laughter the entire show. And it did something to me to hear that change of tone. And when he says, "Oh, I haven't heard that in a while," I realized, oh fuck, ain't nobody really been like.
Yeah.
I mean, in episode 3, there's like that lovey-dovey,
Yeah.
but to hear children's laughter, I don't think you've heard that since maybe the first episode, right?
It's not like they had playgrounds in the Fedra compound.
Nobody is out
Nope.
there just playing, running down the slide while the little zombie things is out just running around. So if I had to pick best episode, just because I made y'all pick, I said all that to say, I think episode 3 was better for me.
Yeah,
I just enjoyed that emotionally.
And I'm second guessing myself because like episode 5 didn't make me cry. It did make me go, whoa. But like episode 3 made me cry on like 2 different occasions. So if we're measuring this by like emotional response, episode 3 got me. They boomed me twice. So I think it's a great question. I think we're spoiled because honestly, it seems like every episode here has been like there's no excess in this show so far.
No
Everything
filler.
has a point.
No filler episodes.
And I think the other thing that like episode 5 does so well that has me second guessing my answer, but the thing it does so well, and I brought this up to you all in the chat, as I said, it's really like we liked it when zombie shit like arrived on the scene.
Right.
We all asked ourselves, like with your friends, like you'd be on your way back from a movie, or you'd all be talking about like the episode of The Walking Dead. You'd be like, well, who do you think you're more like? Like, I think I'm Rick Grimes, or I think I'm
taking a BuzzFeed test.
This guy, like, I'm taking a BuzzFeed test. Like, it was a series of like BuzzFeed quiz. And remember, it was like, oh, take this quiz to see how long you'd last in a zombie apocalypse. It was all about leadership, preparedness, and decision making. And what I think fucking The Last of Us had did with episode 5 is it said like, yeah, but do you know what type of emotional and psychological burden comes along with making those decisions? Do you? Like, okay, everybody wants to be a Daryl. Everybody wants to be a Daryl. Everybody wants to be a Rick until they realize the baggage that comes along with it. Like, and I think that what this did so well is it really said like, you all have no idea what goes into being a leader and how much conscious choice and effort it takes to just turn off some of those pieces. And then his counterpart of like the guy who was a rat, like essentially saying like, I had medicine that I needed. I'm sorry it doesn't fit into the narrative, but I had shit to do and people to keep alive. What do you want me to do? Let him die? Like I can't do that. So those questions that come along with this, it was like, forget everything you know, because the reality of being in the situation is just huge and far more profound than we think it is.
And shout out to Doug and Marcus for me getting to the point of being able to classify like The Walking Dead is what would you do in a zombie apocalypse, and The Last of Us is how would you feel, and it turns out you're gonna feel terrible.
You're not gonna feel great.
You're gonna feel bad. And I think you also summarized that so well, Doug, because I feel like a lot of times we kind of gloss over some of this stuff like, he's a rat, we don't care about him, but this show totally put it on its head. And it's like, no, like he needed life-saving medication and there was literally no other way to get it. Would you really would you really do anything else? Like,
And she
Right.
you know?
and she got her people. Catherine got her people killed, right?
Oh, 100%.
Just to be consumed by revenge solely, right?
I mean, and you look at it from a strategic standpoint, and we can armchair quarterback this all we want, but like
yeah.
you just
Yeah.
took the city, and she's like, I want you to go door to door to find one guy,
One
and they're like,
person.
hey, so we just like overthrew the fascist regime. We should probably like consolidate and
Mhm.
like
Set up
bolster
a
our
system.
defenses. Nope, search the city, I guess. What could
That-
go wrong?
He's not priority 7. And I was like, oh, okay. So got it. And then
Well-
you like the scene in the city, right? That was just done when the truck falls into the ground and it what is that called? It cave
Like
when
a
the ground
sinkhole?
caves in, like a
Oh,
sinkhole.
that's-
Thank you.
Yeah,
When the sinkhole happens, right? First of all, it was premonized or it was foreshadowed that they
Yep.
said there was something in the basement of the house that was knocking around, and it turned
Yeah.
out to be the little baby zombie thing, right?
oh, like the little girl,
The little
like,
girl. I don't even
yeah.
know what you call it, but they told Catherine there's something knocking around in the
Yeah.
basement earlier in the episode, and she completely ignored that,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
But then for that to be the thing, and spoiler, to kill
Yeah.
Catherine in the end because one, she didn't pay attention to it and she didn't acknowledge it and didn't address the shit she needed to address and was too blind and moving with blinders on. I thought that was just first of all, that little baby thing was creepy as hell. When it got in the
It
truck
was
and it was like
like
hopping
little
on the
girl
seat.
clicker.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that was crazy. But the bloater was also well done. Just that final scene.
yeah.
I think they said a lot of it wasn't CGI. It was all practical.
That
Like
was a
they-
practical suit that man wore.
That was incredible. That was incredible.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is really, and again, this is a kudos and a tip of the hat to the showrunners and the writers to have her go on this big long like speech about, well, children die, it is what it is, like,
I
there's
immediately
this-
hated that character.
they
soon
are
as she said
supposed to die.
Yeah.
And then what I think this show did well is like, no, they're not. And in this world, look at the horror of like what they become. Like
Right.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
moment, and then immediately after that to have that moment with Henry in the hotel, like those
Yeah.
three things
Yeah.
in succession are holy shit, like
Yeah.
brilliant. Like just
I
to
mean-
time it out that way.
Well, and I mean, it's the little girl fungus
Yeah.
zombie that gets her too. So
Yeah.
I
Yes.
appreciated that
Yeah.
narrative symmetry of her not caring about children, and then the children literally
Being the
come
one
back
that-
to bite
yep.
her.
Yeah.
I
it was
mean,
incredible.
So I
Well
say
done.
all that to say, if I'm not usually the one to do transitions, but I said all that to say, watch Last of Us. If you are somebody like me who's trying to wait until the hype dies down a little bit, I feel like you are missing out on a big moment in TV. Like this feels like one of those old school moments when something good is
Right on.
It's just
Agreed.
good. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if season 2 will
Awesome.
be the same. When you get a sequel to something, sometimes they over
Hype it.
sequel it, right? Like,
Yeah.
well, they over sequel it. They add more of the shit that you liked in the second time. I think that people should enjoy this for what it is.
And I do want to make quick 2 points of interest here. One, I just found the information. There's 9 episodes of The Last of Us. I thought there were 8.
Ooh,
I'm going to
Nice.
correct myself. I also found a piece from Slash Film that says that the first season is the first game. Like,
Oh,
so that
good.
we will
Thank
get
you.
the whole story, and the second season would be the second game, which I think might be a little bit more up in the air if I had to put money on it. But that's another pod. So, but I
Well,
did want to
Thanks,
put that
Brian.
out
That's
there.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And
info.
I also saw an interview with the actress that plays Ellie, and I think they're starting to think about what season 2 will be, because she was like, I'm prepared for the hate that's coming online. Like
Ooh.
I am. She's like, I'm strapped in and ready, like, and don't give a shit. So
if you haven't seen any of the gameplay, just you can go to YouTube for those that don't know and just put in the cutscenes of like if you don't want to play the game and you just want to watch like the movie version of the game, just the cutscenes and stuff, I definitely recommend going to play both games because I think
Sure.
that they're just really
Yeah.
genuinely good games. But man, game 2 that will piss you off. The game 2 pissed me off as I was watching somebody play it and they only upload it like once a week.
Yep.
I was like itching anytime they uploaded to get to that episode. So Good luck.
There's a
Godspeed.
lot. There's a lot there, but it could be
Good
really
luck.
special.
If you thought Ellie was bad, wait till y'all motherfuckers meet Abby. Good lord. Oh my god.
Oh God.
Jesus.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for such a great discussion on The Last of Us. We'll be back kind of next week. We'll see what we have time for. It's a big episode next week as well, so we'll see what we have time for. But
Why is it a big episode next week, Doug?
Because a certain Ant-Man and Quantum Mania is coming out
Might
this
be-
weekend, and we're
might
going to
be a
give you a
cameo
review. And so we might not have time depending on the review of that movie, but we will
Probably
we will
not.
certainly add
We'll
it the week
see.
after. But gentlemen, speaking of movies that are coming out, the Super Bowl is always an outstanding opportunity to like see like new movie trailers, and there were a lot that sort of came out yesterday during the big game to kind of outline some things. So I want to give you a rundown of all the ones we saw,
All right, let's do it.
and then kind of talk about like which ones we like enjoyed, and then we'll kind of get into the Flash. So no surprise and no spoilers. The Flash was a big one. But we also got Creed 3, which is slated to come out on
Oh.
March 3rd. We got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is scheduled to come out May 3rd. Fast 10, which I could do a whole diatribe about, is scheduled to come out on May 19th. We got a Transformers Rise of the Beasts, which comes out on June 9th. We got a Flash, which is June 16th. We got another Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which comes out
Yep.
on June 30th. Those are the big ones that came out during last night's game. Outside of the Flash, gentlemen, any of these trailers like stand out to you that you are like particularly jazzed and excited about?
Okay. The Flash trailer. All
Okay,
right.
we'll just go
Okay,
into it.
wait, hang on. Before we get this runaway,
That's not the
before we
question I
board,
asked, but
before
said
we
which
board
one
this
stood away.
runaway train, because
We said which one stood out, right?
I said
no, the
outside of
only one,
Flash
the
trailer.
only thing I wanted to point
Oh.
to was Indiana Jones, the CG for young Indiana Jones, young Harrison Ford is getting like creepy, scary witch magic good. And at some point, I feel like Disney's gonna, I don't know, they're just gonna start making movies and they'll be like, nah, it's like, I don't know, it's these characters from 40 years ago. We got all these pictures of them and we just made a computer generated movie. Like that's what I'm waiting for.
This
So
is Jim. We put like a green hood on Jim, and we just put this motherfucker's face on Jim. That's what we
Yeah.
did.
Performing in a green screen green hood is crazy. Like to bring back an actor performing in a green screen thing as other actors is kind of
Yeah.
wild.
like
That's
I don't know. I saw that in the trailer and I was like, that looks so good. So yeah. Anyway, I mean, I feel like Fast X. We all know what that is. Transformers.
Brian,
What was the question? Wait. Can Doug repeat the question? 'Cause I
My
feel like I
question was
jumped it.
outside of the Flash trailer,
Oh, outside of the Flash.
which of these trailers stood out to you?
Guardians
There
of
you
the
go.
Galaxy.
Mine.
That one
Oh,
was
there you
very
go.
good.
In the
Yeah.
best light or the worst light? Because
Just in general.
okay, worst light, Fast X.
Oh, I have
best
so
light-
much
Yep.
to say.
Maybe the Guardians if it's not the Flash. I would say Guardians.
I will say
Or Creed. Creed,
Creed was awesome.
I didn't see that one. I must have been eating buffalo wings or something.
it was like a blink and you missed it. Like,
was like
wasn't-
once.
it was between
Yeah.
the weird commercial slot.
Gotcha.
So really quick, can we talk? I just want to talk. Like, do you all understand that we're not done with Fast and Furious?
I had to tell my sister-in-law. She's like, "Well, this is obviously the last one," and I was like,
It
"Oh,
is
no,
not.
dear
Do
sister-in-law.
you
it
do
is
you not understand? It's like, oh, guess who wants to be in the Flash now? The dead body of Richard Nixon, and he's
You
gonna
mean
show
Fast X? Yeah.
No, it's gonna be Fast 12, and it's gonna be like battle against the president, and it's not gonna be a new president, it's gonna be an old president, and it's gonna be Richard Nixon's ass shows up when they're eating dinner, and he was like, I was there since the beginning. Like, and it's gonna be a whole thing. Like, how much longer can we keep doing this when a villain shows up and that like Dom's taking a leak and forgets to wash his hands? He's like, I was there and I saw what you did, and now I'm gonna do everything to wreck you. Like, can we stop with this bullshit? I'm so over it. Like, I just
Which
I mean-
which route do you think that they take, right, with this movie? What is the ending? They get Jason Momoa to join the family like the last three
Yes.
movies, or Or is there another? Does he die and there's another big bad that they got? Is Charlize Theron the biggest of the biggest bads? Like, I'm not sure
So
where we go from here.
Far.
And
My
that's-
assumption
and Jason
is
Momoa is her ex-lover's cousin, and
Mhm.
he's got a bone to pick with
It's a
Dom.
soap
And it's
opera.
it's all family oriented.
I mean, I feel like to me, I feel like they set up Charlize Theron's character to be the biggest of the big bads, but I don't think they're going to be able to help themselves. I feel like the end of this movie is Jason Momoa being like, "You're right. I shouldn't have tried to kill you. We're family." And then Charlize Theron's going to be like, "Yeah, you're right. We're family now." And then like they're all eating, right? They're all eating at that that like the house, and then
How big
I
is
have
that
no
goddamn
idea.
table?
Like Tom Cruise shows up or something. He's like, "Yeah, you can drive, but can you fly?" And like that's like the
Can
last
you
villain
drive,
or
but can
something.
you fly?
Or fucking like Doc Brown and Marty McFly are gonna come back and be like, "We gotta go back to the future to fix all of this fence and to save your dad's dad." Like, what the fuck are we?
I
Like,
mean,
Marty McFly. Every
I don't-
car movie ever in existence,
Yep.
Optimus Prime pulls up. You think family's important? Put the cube in my chest. Like, oh my god, Optimus, relax.
yeah.
Jesus.
Dom, put the cube in my
Put the
chest.
cube in my chest, Dom. Oh my god, Dom is racing a fucking 18-wheeler down
Well,
the street. Holy
I
shit.
Hang
wanna
on,
see- I
they're
wanna
both
see-
owned by Universal. They're both
Oh,
produced by
God.
Universal. This could happen.
no. What
They
have we
have
put
the
into the
rights.
universe?
I want to see a mashup of the Ghost Rider versus the Fast Nine, the Fast family, because I would love to see. I mean, you gotta get supernatural with it at this point in time. Like,
Dom as a fucking ghost. Well, he's coming back as Riddick. I mean, so that's
Yeah,
which I'm fine with.
I guess I'm
long-
fine with. I kind of want them to leave
That's
Vin
fine.
Diesel alone in general. Like, unless it's Groot, I just don't know which other route you want to take.
you-
Roman Myers from the Patreon said, "Dear Lord, how many movies are they going to have? Is it just going to end when they're all old and gray and their kids force the keys away from them?"
It's a great question, Roman.
Probably.
You know,
how they're
that-
trying to set up Young Avengers in the MCU? That's exactly what this
It's
is.
gonna be the young Fast
Yeah.
9,
I
10
mean,
family.
fast
I don't
Junior.
know. They did space. I'm assuming they're gonna have to like race underwater.
Time.
Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Jason Momoa, Aquaman.
There you go.
Oh god.
There you go. It all fits.
Yeah, worked out.
Yeah.
Fast was it Fast 10B? Because this is 10A and there's
10B.
10B. Yeah, Fast 10B is going to be a race against time. I swear to God, that's
Oh
going to be
my
on the. It's going to be a race.
God.
It's going to be on the fucking poster, and they're going to be like, "We're
Mm.
here." Well, you know how we can really solve this is, well, we gotta go. We have to go to China first, like,
No.
and that's where they're going to go
No.
and get time travel technology.
Fast 11, Fast and
Yeah.
Furious. It's going to be Fast and Furious 11 finish line.
Oh,
Ah!
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm
yeah.
so mad that you're right. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
absolutely what that's
Yeah.
going to
It's,
be.
it's like either
Yeah.
finish line. No, I can't think of anything better.
Yeah.
It's
It's
absolutely.
Pedal to
They're
the
not gonna
metal,
be like
finish
fast
line.
11 out of gas.
The
winner's
finish
circle.
line
Out of
is it.
gas.
You
Fast
know?
11, out of gas.
Yeah. And you know what the thing that really makes me
Psych,
mad?
Fast 11, we've gone electric. It's like, what the hell?
It's just all electric cars.
Yeah. What makes me really mad is that some asshole's going to come out after all of these
Yes.
and he's going to write a 97-page paper about
Yeah.
how the Fast movies are about the cars and not about the members of the family and how they're the real actors in the movie. And it's just
Oh,
gonna, I'm
wow.
gonna have to read it and then I'm gonna have to be mad about
Doug,
it.
why are you manifesting this?
Wow. Yeah, what the fuck?
I just,
This is gonna happen.
This is how
though.
you use your platform?
I guess,
Oh,
start
wow.
your research now.
No,
like I,
Jesus, please
No,
no.
the way this
Please.
ends, it's just gonna be like it's not even gonna be a story for the last movie. It's just gonna be like, here's an action sequence with Statham and Jason Momoa, and they have to jump a car across a zoo. And like they just show it, and then they're like, here's Brie Larson and Michelle Rodriguez fist fighting on motorcycles.
That's
Like
true.
just no story. It's just them doing the action sequences.
Well, that's what the clips was, right? Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing about the trailer. If we just all jokes aside, for me, here's what pissed me off about the trailer. First of all, it looked like random clips mashed together. I can't tell you if this was all from this new movie or past movies. So
Right.
that's one. Second, your music choice was awful. The dude just kept repeating in the song, let's ride, let's ride. Let's ride. Like he was fucking broken Russell Wilson. Just let's ride, let's ride. And I was like, if they don't turn this shit off, and then Dom just with the icing on the fucking cake crashes 2 helicopters with the same fucking Mustang from the last 18 movies.
Invincible.
Should
That car is asking,
you should've
please don't
taken
let
my
this man behind the wheel.
keys.
You made one mistake. You didn't take my car from me. Oh my God.
I feel like
Man.
they all talk with like a really big underbite. Like you should have taken my keys. Like that's I don't know why it sounded.
Maybe I don't know, man. Maybe Kurt Russell was the bad guy the whole time. I
What
don't
the
know,
fuck
man.
happened to Kurt Russell?
He like skipped the last movie. I guess you can do that. It's like PTO days. Like, well, I've already saved up 3 movies. I get to skip one.
And also, I feel like it's like someone must have been like, "Hey, like Russ, like you know that these aren't gonna stop," and he's
Yeah.
like, "What?" And like, yeah, like they're not.
They're gonna
like,
keep going.
So if we don't kill you now,
You're gonna be in it till 12.
you're gonna have
Right.
to like that's the next 8 years for you. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm already in my 70s. What do you mean it's the next 8 years for me? And so he's like, no. Go ahead. You can kill me. I'll take some time off. Jesus. But the big one that we wanted to get to is the Flash. So this is our
Yes.
first look at Andy Muschietti's The Flash. And
ready.
y'all, there is a lot in here.
It's a lot.
A lot of
Ready.
people coming back. We got Michael Shannon. We got Michael Keaton. We got
All the Michaels.
Supergirl. We got all sorts of stuff. So,
Mhm.
gentlemen, take away the discussion on the Flash because this is
Mm.
the Flash is not my knowledge base. I'm just gonna put it out there now.
I
mean-
mean, Marcus, I feel like you should kick us off here.
Well, okay, let me explain. I guess I'll start with the premise of the Flash of this movie. It is the typical, if there's a height to Flash, right? Just like Superman and everybody, right? Superman's height is Doomsday or Superman turning evil.
Sure.
Okay. There's Flash's story point, peak of his story point to me. Sometimes, like the thing that they refer to the most, the storyline you'll always hear is Flashpoint. Okay.
Sure.
So Flashpoint is basically the Flash realizes I have the power to run back in time. I'm so fast I can do these things, which you kind of seen in the Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yep.
He goes back in time to try to save his mom because his dad is in jail because he was framed for killing his mom. Depending on what story you hear, which I think is pretty much all of them, Zoom or a different alternate version of Flash
Yeah.
killed his mom, and the dad got blamed. This is
Yep.
basically what this is. Barry goes to go back in time. He realizes he can save his parents. He wants to stay in this timeline where his mom lives, but usually when Barry does that, he fucks up the timeline and everything changes. So where a Batfleck exists, maybe would in the beginning of this movie, I'm assuming Barry will go back in time, and then that's how you get Michael Keaton as Batman, and Barry fucks everything up and changes everything, and that's why all the characters change.
Yeah, I mean that seems plausible.
So,
I mean, yeah.
where do we start? Where do we want to start with this?
I mean, unpack this thing for us, man. Like,
I
what were some
mean-
pieces of it that? Let's start with this. What are some things that you saw in the trailer that made you excited for this movie?
The cinematic feel of it. I didn't know
Okay.
what the tone of it was going to be. And you know, when you look at a movie, it seems to be shot almost. There are some scenes that seem shot just like Snyder shot Superman of Steel. And that's kind of the same gray, darker tone to the
Yep.
movie. I wasn't expecting that. You know, for something I kept hearing was going to be a fun, goofy, and it's a Flash movie. I guess I wasn't expecting that. So that's the thing that caught my attention first, if I'm just being honest.
That's fair.
The visual style absolutely echoes that of the Zack Snyder Justice League.
Yeah.
Like you do see those washed out colors. It's a bit more stark, kind of low contrast in some of those like those low lit areas, right? I think the thing that I liked about it though is that it turned up the dial on the color because like even the Supergirl stuff
It looks
that
way
you
brighter.
saw, you're like, oh, that's clearly red and blue. That is red
Yep.
and blue, like Woman of Tomorrow, like which I really appreciated about it. I did not know Zod was going to be in this. I did
Didn't know
not
that
know we
either.
were going
didn't know that
all
either.
the way back to the start
Mhm.
of like the Snyderverse events, which I think will be fascinating. So I think the thing that grabbed me was that it felt like a pretty fresh premise, and that is not what I expected. Like I knew we were going to go back in time, but I felt like that was just more of like a cheap grab of like, oh, how much we can just go revisit these things. We don't need to make a new story. But no, it does feel fresh, and I am interested. Like
Yeah.
I actually want to know how they're going to do this story,
Yeah.
rather than just like see what they have. Like I'm like, no, like I want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could
no,
see why they would keep Ezra Miller. I could see how this movie could potentially be really successful.
Yeah, I could see it
100%.
too. I mean, we saw it throughout the whole theme for all the Super Bowl ads was nostalgia, and this seems like it
Oh,
was they took it and
yeah.
dialed it up to 11, and they said, "You remember Michael Keaton as Batman?
I mean,
Remember that time
he
he
did
said
look
I'm
good.
Batman?" Like,
I mean, you got $7 million and they spent probably like $2 million of time just like looking at Michael Keaton's face
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Batman.
I'll be honest with you. That bat suit, 7 bat suit shot.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, I don't know if y'all
Really?
had a chance to look at it, like the stills. There's a blue cowl, gray
Yes.
suit Batman with white eyes and lenses. And there's 7 different suits in that shot, and 2 of them are from Batman. The first Batman, 1 suit is from Batman Returns, and then 3 new suits, and then the main suit he wears in this one. That's an incredible shot. If you would have just
Yeah.
built up that whole thing just for that, I mean, the stills from this movie alone, Barry's suit, I'm kind of on edge about. I don't know if I like it a lot. I don't know. I can't really gauge it. The helmet, the cowl looks weird for me
Yeah.
compared to the suit. But
Well-
I just think everything looks pretty good. It looks decent.
No, it looks good. There's some really solid stills, like where there's like I don't even understand what I'm looking at, but there's a shot where like the 2 feet like touch and then they sprint away from each other, and I was like, this is kind of starting to feel inspired a little bit. It doesn't, I don't know, I'm not getting Suicide Squad vibes from it, which is what I was most concerned about. And I think that I think the weird thing about it though is that you hear people talk about this trailer and they are so hyped about Michael Keaton, or they're so hyped about Batfleck, or they're so hyped about Supergirl. It's weird how Ezra Miller is almost getting like third billing in his own movie, and maybe that's on purpose. I don't know.
Ben Affleck is such a good Bruce Wayne, and I'm kind of sad that this will be his title. He just looks like a Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
agree.
Like there's something about, if you would have told me years ago Ben Affleck is Batman, I would have told you, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? But there's something about him, like these shots, these quick moments where you see him in the blue. He also had a blue cowl gray suit as well. And then like he's talking to Barry, like, you could fuck shit up too, Barry. It was just, he just screamed Bruce Wayne and Batman, you know what I mean? And I just did it well. So I really am gonna miss him as Batman. Just good casting. Zack Snyder, everything wasn't perfect with the Snyderverse, but his casting I think was on par. It was A1.
And that's one of the reasons I'm excited for Rebel Moon, is because like we know this guy can do casting, and you're gonna give him a blank slate and all the talent that he's attracted. Like, yeah. So,
Doug, what do you think?
I really don't know how to feel about it.
Okay.
And here's the reason why. And I told Marcus this when he was at the house when we were watching the game.
yeah.
My knowledge of Flash is zero. Like I don't
Right.
know. I don't know beyond Flashpoint. Like I don't know. I mean, I've watched a couple of the animated things where they kind of dive into some of these pieces. But I really don't know much beyond Flashpoint, that I know that he has the ability to sort of like manipulate time due to the way the Speed Force works. But I don't know that when Marcus said in my house that there's a whole Flash family, and I had to stop myself from being like, there's a what? Like because I mean, I've read Final Crisis and some of the other ones, so I'm aware of where they are.
Right.
But this just feels like so much for me to be like, I'm going to have to see it to be able to comprehend it. Now, what I will say is about the trailer, what I can say is this looks far more organized than we thought it was going to be. Like when this first got leaked, I was like, this is going to be a hot mess. Like this is just going to be too many pieces, and we're going to be balancing things out. I said, this feels like Spider-Man 3 vibes. Like you got so many good ideas, but none of them can be played out. And there is a structure. There is a theme. There is a mission. There is something that's going to push the plot forward. That is going to be something that we haven't seen yet before in the DCU. And to be honest with you, we only recently started seeing in the MCU, which is this idea of time and there being implications on how that impacts the timeline and the other universes that exist. So I think that this is going to be very interesting to watch. So I'm excited to watch it just because it does feel more organized. But in terms of like what knowledge I know enough to be able to speak to, like, ooh, did you see that? Like, I mean, there's just not enough in my head to be able to call back and be like, oh, cool.
And I think I mean, I understand why they went with Flashpoint. It is
Mhm.
it's a good story.
Yep.
And
Clean slate.
and you can clean slate stuff. Like I totally get it. But I also get it for like people who don't read comic books all the time, who are just like, there's a Flash movie and he can do what now? Like, I
Mhm.
do think there's going to be a little bit of barrier of entry for some of those folks. And I'm curious how that plays out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wait, he can go back in time, but he messes it up. Why is
Mm.
Batman there? Like,
Yep.
and I think you can get there, but that is something that I'm curious about how people are going to feel. But yeah, I mean, that was the other thing I wanted to say, Marcus, is that if this is going to be their clean slate movie, if this is going to be their swan song for like all of the other previous movies, I get it. Like, this is how you do it.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it makes the most sense, like thematically. Yeah.
I feel like, okay, so I just Googled randomly, right? And I'm on Game Rant, and this was published February.
Oh, we might not never know when it was published.
No,
'Cause technical difficulties.
that's all right. Well, we're
Okay.
gonna get Marcus back.
Oh no,
We got you.
am I back?
We
You're
lost you
back.
for a minute. Right when
Am
you
I
told
here?
us when it was published, we were like,
Yeah.
when was it published,
Oh, okay.
Marcus?
Sorry. Sorry. February 2022.
So a year ago.
Was when it was a little bit old, but I do think there are some things in here. If you want to do a comparison of the Flash and Superman, right? Superman Speed Kills, which was out in 1990. That is a good comic, so you
Okay.
can see and gauge Flash's power. Okay, if you want to do that, and I'll drop this
Sure.
in the chat, and this will also be in the link description too, as well. If you want to look at the Flash, Nobody Dies, it really kind of looks at. I've actually read this one. This one really showcases Wally West as a person.
Okay.
And like there's so many different iterations of the Flash. There's Barry Allen, which is the one we know in the movie verse, but Wally West was actually the first person that I had ever heard about as the Flash, right?
Got
Who, adapts the mantle after Barry disappears or he dies, and then you get Kid Flash and all these other things.
Mm.
If you want to find out about the Flash family, they actually have a really good storyline,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I'll have to
Right,
check
like,
those out.
I recommend you start looking into that.
Yeah.
And Flashpoint. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I read they did a Batman run called Flashpoint Beyond, which was centered around Thomas and Martha Wayne. And I know that one like really well, and it's dark as
man.
fuck, so it's right up
That
my
is-
alley.
That is a good.
but I'll have to
the
check
Flash
some
has
of
a,
these
he
out.
has a good rogues gallery.
Maybe maybe that'll be my next like list the next time I make it up to Rainbow Comics, is I'll just start going into the Flash and be like, what do you got?
Maybe.
Like, let's just flip it out, see what I got. So
Or just
um,
watch the Flash on the CW.
I don't know if I can, you guys.
final
Like,
season.
Here's the thing. I just don't know if I can.
Gold boots.
I
gold
get the
boots.
gold boots, you guys. I just don't know if I can. Like, I feel the same way about Green Arrow. Like, I feel the same way about Arrow. Like, I watched the first 4 episodes of that. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And then I was just like, I got other stuff. Like, and I just
Yeah.
walk. Like, I
Yeah.
just walked. And that's the way I feel bad for these CW shows and me, is because as a comic book person, I should like these, but there's a part of me that's just like,
Well,
I got other stuff to do. Like,
honestly, it's gosh, this could be another pod, but like the CW superhero shows exist as like one of the final reasons why a lot of like the stories that we tell now in comic book format are only 6 or 10 episodes, because
Mhm.
doing this format of like a 22 to 24 episode run is just, after the
Doesn't work.
second season or the third season, it's exhausting. You already
Yeah.
had 60 episodes and you've burned through probably the top 5 arcs, right? If
Yep,
they're
yep.
drawing on all of the stories from the past 60 years of comics. So then you're getting into stuff that is just like kind of out there. And like the Flash, I feel like it worked with the Flash because like the Flash never said it would be anything else. They're like, hey, we got Silver Age wackiness. I don't know. I can run fast. Maybe I can go back in time. So you're not really bothered by some guys like, I'm the music meister and you have to sing for me or else you die. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's fine, whatever. Like, I feel like that was one of the reasons it could keep going. and where shows like Arrow were just like, I don't know, let's just do Shawshank Redemption, but like make it Arrow, and everyone's like, okay, sounds good.
Mhm.
And that's
Well,
how the last
Man,
season ended.
Shawshank Redemption, but make it Arrow.
But make it
That's
Arrow.
what they did.
That's true.
That's what that's kind of my problem with
Smallville is the one anomaly
yeah.
now. Roman Myers, Smallville set this whole thing off, but they did it right up until season 8,
6.
7, 6. Then they lost you. Then they
Yeah.
lost you. It became too cheesy.
Because here's the thing about like The Flash as a show is it gave me such strong like, okay, so what if we did like, Power Rangers? Like, what if we did The Flash, but it was like kind of like Power Rangers? And
Yeah.
for me, it was always like, if I want that, I'll watch
Yep.
the best version of it, which is I'll just watch the Power Rangers. Like, I'll
Yes.
just watch that. And I don't know if it's that I expected, because I don't know if I expected a higher quality and just it didn't get that because it's a CW show.
It's a TV show.
Yo,
So I think it was my
Well,
own. And it's not the show's fault. I think this is me saying it didn't get into my into my brain.
It's not. I don't think it's your fault. Also,
No.
I also want to point out the outlier, which is Superman and Lois. They've been able to keep
Yeah.
up the quality and the storytelling in that show. And James Gunn said it'll maybe go on for 1 to 2 more seasons. And I personally think that that's perfect. I think
That's
that
awesome.
for the way that the show is ran, the quality that it is, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean that's gonna be like the survivor out
Yeah.
of all of these mergers and sell-offs. Like that show survived, and I think
It
it survived for a reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, the trailer looked legit. I do think the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer is another
was
one that
good.
we'll have to unpack at some point in time because, they're gonna go through it. Like, there's just some stuff happening to these
Somebody
poor
dying.
Like,
this
just
team. I think
get ready for the
several
sad.
people are dying.
I can
Like,
see
I
that
think
too.
there are several folks that are just
It
on
ain't
their
who we
way
I
out.
think it is.
a
either.
distinct
Yeah.
I think so
possibility.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Marcus. It's not who we think it's going to be. So, gentlemen, any other news pieces that you all have for this particular episode?
Hell no to the no.
Yeah, me neither. So not a lot coming. So we are going to wrap things up here for the public episode, but we are also doing a Patreon bonus episode just for our Patty family that we will release on our Patreon page. I'm going to eat some hot Cheetos for the very first time.
Popping that Cheeto cherry.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know why I got excited about it. And then we're also going to talk about the best wrestler turn actor and make our case for who should receive that particular crown. But gentlemen, anything that you would like to plug for this episode?
Hey folks, lovenerds.com. You heard Doug and Marcus talk about these buffalo wings. Go to the lovenerds.com, go to recipes, check out what they're talking about. There's 3 recipes. If you got to try one, I really like the honey siracha, but the Parmesan one, also top tier. Thelovenerds.com.
Absolutely.com. Marcus, what do you got?
You already know what it is. Make sure that whatever you do, you are following the mantra. What is the mantra? I'm glad you asked. The mantra is never offended, always humble. Okay. And if you go to follow the mantra.myspreadshop right now, myspreadshop.com right now, you can find 3 new Valentine designs available for you. All Noah, all love, all the time. There are 3 different designs. One is called LUV, love. One is called forever, me, you, plus the mantra equals forever. And then one is called my boo. All right. So you can get yourself some Noah merch, get yourself some designs and shit like that, and spoil the ones you love. It'll be out all month long, and we have some new designs on the way right after that. But above anything else, follow the mantra, never offended, always humble. Oh, and you heard it here first. New music is dropping this month. Bow.
Oh, that's a big deal. I'm excited about that.
It's gonna
More
be a
stuff
great
to
time.
add to the workout mix. I get
Yeah,
questions a lot
hopefully.
about that at the gym because I have it on some songs that I play when I coach in the morning on Wednesdays. And they're like, who is this? I'm like, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah. And
go.
shout out to Doug for playing me at the trivia. That was also
Oh,
great.
Yeah.
That was great. At the trivia in the city. That was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool.
All I have to plug is this podcast. So share us with a friend, tell us somebody that you love this podcast, and that they should give it a listen. Best way to spread the Films in Black and White love. If you are one of those folks who is feeling so inclined to join the Patty family, head over to patreon.com/films in black and white to sign up for one of our tiers. We got great access to some stuff like bonus episodes, which we are going to pivot on over and do after this and drop exclusively there. But yeah, we got good stuff on the way. Next week, we are covering Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We're going to dive into the latest Marvel project and what will set off Phase 5 moving forward. So big moments for everybody.
A whole hand.
A whole hand, everybody. A whole ass hand.
Look at that shot. That's a crazy shot.
But so it's exciting, and we're going to talk about it there.
$5
foot long. Gentlemen, we have a 3-step process to success. Brian, what is our first step?
Hey folks, it's me, Brian Roush, from the Films in Black and White podcast. You might have heard people talking about books. What are books? Well, books are little stories that only you get to read. You don't have to read them with anybody else. You can just go in a corner. It's just for you. It's like a secret between you and the paper. So if you're feeling like you need some you time and you need to give some attention to yourself, use a book and tell yourself a secret. Go read a book.
Read a book. I like that. That was really sweet.
Shit,
Gosh,
Brian, tell yourself it's like a secret between you and the book.
Yeah, that's good.
I really got that.
That's good. I don't know who you do marketing for, if it's for a library or whatever the fuck it is.
Should put that on a bumper sticker, Brian.
That's really good.
That'll be the first shirt that we ever do. Like a book, it's a secret between you and the pages. Weird for a movie podcast. Our second key to success is to drink some water, y'all. We are entering spring. We're about to leave our homes and enter the world again after the cold of winter fades away and the spring emerges. So be sure to make sure that you washed your ass. That you drink some water. I skipped. Make sure that I just got excited.
What the fuck?
It's a combination. This is a 1-2 punch. That old-fashioned got me. You got to drink some water so that way you can read the cues on the screen right, and that you stay hydrated and you're not messing it up. The closeout that you've done literally 1,000 times. But yeah, drink some water. It'll help you to feel better. You'll be able to feel energized to tackle your day, and it's good for you in general. So drink some water. Marcus?
DT already kind of said it earlier.
Yeah,
you already kind of said it. But make sure you wash that ass. All right. Before you may not have enough time between here and hopping and following us over to the Patreon, but you can still wash your ass after it's over. Okay. So make sure that you are bending over, touching your toes, and really getting up in that thing.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever that thing is, get up in that thing.
Thing
Ain't none of my business what the thing is. That's between you, the Lord, and the shower.
That's very true. We will be back next week, like I said, with a great movie review episode. But in the meantime and in the between time, stay safe.
Hold on. Tell your significant others Happy Valentine's Day on your podcast.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day to my wife and to my children. I love you all very much.
Oh, bringing in the kids. Happy Valentine's Day, Maggie. This comes out Wednesday, so we've already had our special day. Kiddos, I love you. I hope you had a wonderful day. There we go. Happy Valentine's Day.
We did it, y'all. We did it.
Yeah, there you go. I'm alone, so.
You're not alone. We love
Happy
you.
Valentine's Day, Marcus.
Thank you. I love you. Happy Valentine's Day, yo.
But anyway, we will be back next week with a brand new movie episode. But in the meantime and the between time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all next week.